Admiral Chen Zhang stood at the viewport of the Lunar Defense Station, watching the distant lights of mining vessels returning from the asteroid belt. 15 years of peaceful space exploration had lulled humanity into a sense of comfortable routine. That ended when the first Meridian warship dropped out of hyperspace. Unknown vessel approaching. Energy signature exceeds anything in our database. Lieutenant Sarah O'Connor reported, her fingers dancing across the holographic display. They're not responding to hails. Chen's expression remained neutral, but his mind raced through contingencies. Humanity had prepared for this moment since they first reached for the stars, though few believed first contact would come so soon. The Meridian ship, a crystalline structure that seemed to defy conventional physics, dwarfed their largest mining vessels. "Alert all stations," Chen ordered. "Activate Protocol Omega." Around him, the crew worked with practiced efficiency, though he could sense their underlying tension. Humanity had developed their space technology in isolation, paranoid about potential threats. Now that paranoia would be put to the test. The Meridian ship's first attack came without warning, a lance of purple energy that should have vaporized the station. Instead, it splashed harmlessly against an invisible barrier, dispersing into space. The aliens hadn't detected the quantum diffusion field, technology that even most humans didn't know existed. "They're scanning us," Sarah reported. Their energy readings just spiked. Chen allowed himself a small smile. Let them scan. They won't understand what they're seeing. The diffusion field was humanity's greatest secret, not because of what it did, but because of how it worked. It didn't block energy. It redirected it through quantum spaces that technically didn't exist. The Meridian ship launched a second attack, then a third. Each time, their weapons seemed to pass through the station as if it wasn't there. Chen could almost imagine their confusion. Their sensors would show a primitive space station, barely worth noticing. They couldn't comprehend that humans had mastered quantum mechanics in ways that defied conventional physics. "Sir, they're positioning for a kinetic strike," Sarah warned. "Mass accelerator charging." "Perfect." Chen pressed a button on his console. "All units, execute Sunflower Protocol." Across the solar system, hundreds of seemingly innocent mining platforms suddenly transformed. Panels shifted, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden in plain sight. Every human installation, from the smallest prospecting drone to the largest orbital platform, had been built with this moment in mind. The Meridian ship fired its mass accelerator. A chunk of metal accelerated to near-light speed. It should have torn through the station. Instead, the projectile vanished into a quantum pocket, emerging behind the Meridian vessel with its momentum perfectly preserved. The alien ship shields, calibrated for frontal assault, never stood a chance. The projectile punched through their rear defenses, emerging from the other side in a spectacular display of crystalline fragments and vented atmosphere. "Target disabled," Sarah reported, her voice steady despite the historic moment they were witnessing. "Multiple escape pods launching." Chen nodded. "Capture those pods." Carefully, he turned to address the entire command center. "Ladies and gentlemen, it seems humanity's paranoia has paid off. But this was just one ship, and I doubt their friends will be happy about it." As if in response to his words, long-range sensors detected multiple hyperspace signatures. The Meridian ship had managed to send a distress call. "All solar system defenses to full alert," Chen ordered. "And contact Earth Command. Tell them." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Tell them first contact has occurred, and humanity's hidden teeth have drawn first blood." The crew worked with renewed purpose, knowing that everything they had prepared for was about to be put to the ultimate test. Humanity had hoped for peaceful first contact, but prepared for war. Now, as more Meridian ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, they would show the galaxy why that preparation had been necessary. Chen watched the approaching fleet with grim determination. Humanity had hidden its true capabilities for exactly this moment. The Meridians thought they had found an easy target. a primitive species ripe for conquest. Instead, they had stumbled upon a civilization that had spent decades preparing for exactly this scenario. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of when pushed too far. The Meridians were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones that don't look threatening at all. The Meridian invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. 200 crystalline warships arranged in a geometric pattern that would have been beautiful if it wasn't so terrifying. Admiral Sarlacc stood on his command deck, mandibles clicking in anticipation. The loss of their scout ship had been unfortunate, but now they would show these primitives the true might of the Meridian Empire. Their defenses are unchanged, his tactical officer reported, still using those primitive mining platforms and orbital stations. Curious, Sarlacc mused. They must know they can't win, yet they haven't attempted to surrender. The massive fleet moved forward, weapons charging. No matter. Begin the assault. On Earth, in a hidden command center beneath the Rockies, General Maya Rodriguez watched the approaching fleet with calculating eyes. Around her, dozens of operators coordinated humanity's response through neural interfaces that the Meridian's scans registered as simple radio communications. All civilian ships have reached safety, her AI assistant reported. Initiating Operation Porcupine. Maya nodded. Let's show them why you should never corner an inventive species. She opened a channel to all human forces. Remember your training. Use everything at your disposal. Show them why humans are the galaxy's ultimate survivors. The Meridian fleet opened fire, expecting a quick victory. Instead, they watched in confusion as their energy weapons were absorbed by quantum fields, their projectiles disappeared into nowhere, and their targeting systems suddenly couldn't distinguish real targets from holographic decoys. But humanity's real surprise came next. Thousands of mining drones, each no bigger than a car, swarmed toward the Meridian fleet. The aliens initially ignored them. Their shields could easily handle such tiny threats. Then the drones activated their mining lasers, tools designed to cut through asteroids, now repurposed into weapons that slice through crystalline hulls with terrifying efficiency. Impossible, Sarlacc breathed as he watched 3 of his ships fall to pieces. Their technology is primitive. We verified this. Sir, his sensor officer called out. The humans are using their atmospheric processors as weapons. They're creating localized gravity wells. Indeed, what the Meridians had dismissed as simple climate control devices were revealing their true purpose. Each one contained miniaturized gravity generators, originally designed to help terraform Mars. Now they created crushing gravitational fields that warped space itself, trapping Meridian ships in zones where their own mass worked against them. Maya watched with grim satisfaction as the carefully orchestrated chaos unfolded. Release the fireflies, she ordered. Across Earth's orbit, seemingly decorative satellite arrays suddenly activated. Each one released thousands of tiny robots, each carrying a quantum entanglement device. The Meridians watched in horror as these diminutive machines phased through their shields, literally existing in multiple spaces at once, and attached themselves to ship hulls. What are these devices? Sarlacc demanded as readings showed them appearing throughout his fleet. What are they doing? The answer came moments later as the fireflies synchronized their quantum fields. Space itself seemed to hiccup as hundreds of small holes appeared in Meridian ships, areas where matter simply ceased to exist as quantum fields overlapped in ways that shouldn't be possible. This is not primitive technology, Sarlacc roared. Their level of advancement was verified by 3 separate scout missions. Because we showed them exactly what we wanted them to see, Maya murmured, though the Meridian admiral couldn't hear her. Humans learned long ago that the best defense is to make others underestimate you. The Meridian fleet's perfect formation had dissolved into chaos. Their mighty warships, designed to fight conventional battles against conventional foes, found themselves being torn apart by mining tools, crushed by terraforming equipment, and quantum shredded by decorative satellites. All ships, Regroup. Sarlacc ordered. Fall back to. He never finished the sentence as a mining drone phased through his bridge's ceiling, its industrial cutting laser already spinning up. Maya watched the Meridian fleet's cohesion collapse with professional satisfaction. Send word to all commands, she ordered. Phase 1 successful. Begin Phase 2 deployment. She paused, then added, and remind all units, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're teaching the galaxy a lesson about underestimating humanity. As the surviving Meridian ships attempted to retreat, they discovered another nasty surprise. The humans had seeded their hyperspace exit routes with quantum-shifted space mines, disguised as ordinary space debris. The resulting explosions lit up space like new stars being born. Send a message to the Meridian Empire, Maya commanded. Tell them this was just our first line of defense. If they want to see what humans can really do when we're angry, they're welcome to try again. The battle wasn't over. Maya knew the Meridians would return with a larger fleet, better prepared for humanity's tricks. But that was exactly what Earth was counting on. Because while this battle had shown some of humanity's hidden teeth, it hadn't revealed them all. Not even close. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the Meridian Empire's capital world, Supreme Commander Valfok slammed his crystalline staff against the floor. The sound echoed through the chamber, silencing the arguing council members. 2 fleets, he roared. 2 fleets lost to these primitives. The tactical display showed Earth's solar system, now marked as a red zone. How are they doing this? High Scientist Relma stepped forward, her iridescent robes shimmering. The humans are unprecedented. They hide their true capabilities beneath layers of deception. What appears primitive is advanced. What seems defensive is a trap. Then we will send our entire armada, Valfok declared. 10,000 ships. They cannot possibly. The chamber's lights flickered, then went dark. When they returned, every display showed the same image. A human woman in a simple military uniform. Greetings, Meridian Empire, she said calmly. I am Colonel Sarah Chen, daughter of Admiral Chen Zhang. You're currently witnessing what we call a hack, a concept you might want to familiarize yourself with. Valfok's mandibles clicked in fury. How dare you? We've been watching your war council for weeks, Sarah continued, ignoring the interruption. Your quantum crystal technology is impressive, but did you know it can be influenced by carefully calibrated gravity waves, the same ones we use in our primitive mining operations? The council chamber erupted in chaos. Their secure systems were supposed to be impenetrable. Yet these humans had not only breached them, but had been observing silently. Your next attack fleet, Sarah said, the one you're gathering at Meridian Prime. We've already compromised its navigational systems. Would you like a demonstration? Before Valfok could respond, alerts flashed across the chamber's displays. In the shipyards above, 50 Meridian warships suddenly activated, their engines firing at full power. The council watched in horror as the ships crashed into each other in a spectacular display of destruction. That was 1% of our capabilities, Sarah stated. We've spent centuries preparing for contact with alien life. Did you think we'd only prepare for conventional warfare? High Scientist Relma stepped closer to the display, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. Your species, you think differently than us, unpredictably. We call it lateral thinking, Sarah replied with a slight smile. While you were perfecting your energy weapons, we were imagining every possible way to turn them against you. While you were building bigger ships, we were figuring out how to make yours useless. The tactical display suddenly showed Earth's solar system again, but this time it revealed layers of defenses the Meridians hadn't detected before. Quantum minefields disguised as asteroid belts, gravity wave generators hidden in gas giant storms, an entire network of sensors and weapons platforms phase-shifted slightly out of normal space-time. This is impossible, one council member whispered. The energy requirements alone. We solved cold fusion 60 years ago. Sarah said casually. Kept that quiet, though. Just like we kept quiet about the quantum phase technology, the gravity manipulation, and the AI networks that can predict your tactical decisions before you make them. Valthok finally found his voice again. You're bluffing. No species could advance so far in secret. Sarah's expression hardened. Would you like another demonstration? Perhaps involving your personal flagship, the one you think is secure in your private hangar. Above the capital, Valthok's prized warship suddenly rose from its berth, its crystalline structure glowing with unusual patterns. It hung there for a moment, then split perfectly in half, the cut so clean it looked like it had been done with surgical precision. That was actually one of our older mining lasers, Sarah commented. Repurposed, of course. We find ways to use everything. Did you know we once won a war on Earth using just farming equipment? We're very creative when we need to be. The council chamber had fallen completely silent. Even Valthok stood frozen, his staff forgotten in his grip. Here's your choice, Sarah continued. Option 1. You declare Earth and its entire solar system a restricted zone, never to be approached by Meridian forces again. Option 2. We show you exactly how many other surprises we've hidden throughout your empire while you were busy underestimating us. She leaned forward slightly, her image filling the chamber. You have 1 hour to decide. I suggest you use it wisely. After all, her smile turned predatory. Humans are known for our impatience. The transmission cut off, leaving the Meridian Council in stunned silence. High Scientist Relna was the first to speak. Supreme Commander, she said quietly, I suggest we take option 1. Valthok, still staring at the space where Sarah's image had been, could only nod. For the first time in his long life, he understood true fear, not of superior weapons or overwhelming force, but of an enemy that simply thought too differently to be defeated. The humans hadn't just outfought them. They'd outthought them in ways the Meridians hadn't even considered possible. The Meridian Empire did not take option 1. Pride, that fatal flaw of advanced civilizations, prevented them from accepting defeat at the hands of what they still considered a lesser species. Instead, they chose to unleash their most devastating weapon, the World Breaker, a ship larger than Earth's moon, powered by an artificial star. Dr. Yuki Tanaka watched from Eurova Command as the massive vessel emerged from hyperspace, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight into 1,000 rainbow patterns. Around her, the command center hummed with activity, but no one showed fear. They had prepared for this too. They really brought their biggest gun to a thinking match, Yuki mused, adjusting her neural interface. How disappointingly predictable. The World Breaker moved into position, its artificial star pulsing with enough energy to shatter planets. Supreme Commander Valthok's voice boomed across all frequencies. Humans, witness the price of your defiance. This weapon has destroyed 12 worlds. Your pitiful tricks can't. Mute that, please, Yuki interrupted, and initiate Project Looking Glass. Across the solar system, thousands of quantum receivers activated simultaneously. These devices, disguised as common communications satellites, had been humanity's greatest secret, not weapons, but components of the largest quantum computer ever created. You see, Yuki spoke to her staff. While they were building bigger weapons, we were asking bigger questions. Like what happens when you create a quantum observation field large enough to affect reality itself. The World Breaker fired its main weapon, a beam of pure stellar energy that should have cracked Earth's crust. Instead, the beam simply disappeared, along with the entire World Breaker. In their place was a perfect mirror image of Earth's solar system, existing in quantum superposition with the real one. The Meridian superweapon found itself trapped between realities, its own massive energy turning against it. Reality, Yuki explained to the stunned Meridian communications channel she had just reopened, is surprisingly flexible when you understand its fundamental laws. Your weapon didn't just fire at Earth. It fired at every possible Earth, in every possible quantum state. The world breaker began to break apart, its crystalline structure unable to cope with existing in multiple realities simultaneously. The artificial star at its core collapsed in on itself, trapped in a quantum loop of its own creation. We didn't build bigger weapons, Yuki continued, her voice carrying to every Meridian ship in the system. We built smarter ones, weapons that use your own power against you, weapons that turn your greatest strengths into weaknesses. The remaining Meridian fleet watched in horror as their mightiest weapon dissolved into quantum foam, scattered across 1,000,000 parallel realities. Earth's solar system shimmered with impossible energies as the quantum mirror field stabilized. "This is your final warning," Yuki announced. "Earth is not undefended. We are not primitive. We are humanity, and we have spent our entire history preparing for this moment." She paused, letting the silence stretch. "We didn't want this war. We tried to show you glimpses of our power, hoping you'd understand. But you forced our hand, and now you've seen what we can really do." The quantum field rippled, and suddenly every Meridian ship found itself back in its home system, thousands of light years from Earth. The quantum teleportation was precise, elegant, and absolutely terrifying in its implications. "Consider this a demonstration." Yuki's voice reached them, even across the vast distance. "Next time, we won't be so gentle. Next time, we might decide to show you what happens when we actually try to hurt you." In the Meridian capital, Valthok stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. The humans hadn't just defeated their greatest weapon. They had fundamentally changed the rules of what was possible. They hadn't fought the world breaker. They had simply decided it shouldn't exist in their reality. "High scientist," he whispered, "what exactly are we dealing with?" Relna's voice trembled as she answered. "A species that doesn't just use technology. They reshape reality itself to match their imagination. They don't think like us, fight like us, or even exist like us." She looked up at the stars, visible through the council chamber's crystal dome. "We didn't just find another civilization. Supreme Commander, we found our worst nightmare. A species that turns our understanding of the universe against us." Back on Europa, Yuki closed the quantum channels and leaned back in her chair. "Send word to all commands," she ordered. "Operation Looking Glass successful. Begin fortifying the quantum barrier around Sol system." She smiled slightly, thinking of the Meridians' reaction. They had brought their ultimate weapon, expecting a conventional war. Instead, they had discovered that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to imagine new ways to use it. The message would spread across the galaxy. Earth was not to be trifled with. Not because they had the biggest guns, but because they had transformed the very nature of warfare into something other species couldn't comprehend. Humanity hadn't just won a battle. They had rewritten the rules of what was possible. 5 years after the World Breaker incident, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 300 species gathered to discuss one topic: humanity's application for diplomatic recognition. Ambassador Relna, formerly High Scientist of the Meridian Empire, stood before her peers. The chamber fell silent as she began to speak. "You all know what happened to our fleet, to our world breaker. But you don't know what happened after." She activated a holographic display, showing Earth's solar system. "The humans didn't just defeat us. They changed us, changed everything." The display shifted, showing the quantum barrier now surrounding Sol's system, a shimmering wall of possibility that made reality itself uncertain. Ships could enter, but only if humanity allowed it, only if they were invited. "We thought we understood warfare," Relna continued. "We thought we understood physics. The humans proved we understood nothing. They don't just use technology. They imagine new ways to use it that we never considered possible." In the gallery, Earth's first ambassador, Dr. Maya Rodriguez, watched silently. She remembered the decisions that had led to this moment, the carefully orchestrated revelation of humanity's capabilities. Their mining tools became weapons, Relna explained. Their terraforming equipment became gravity weapons. Their communication satellites became reality-altering quantum computers. But that's not what makes them dangerous. She paused, mandibles clicking nervously. What makes them dangerous is that they're still inventing new things, still imagining new possibilities. The chamber erupted in worried murmurs. A ZSTAR representative raised their appendage. What are you suggesting? That we deny their application. Try to contain them. Contain them? Relna laughed bitterly. They contain themselves. That quantum barrier around their system. It's not to keep others out. It's to protect us from the physics experiments they're conducting. They're rewriting the laws of reality inside their own solar system, and they were kind enough to put up warning signs. Maya smiled slightly. Humanity had indeed been busy. The quantum barrier helped prevent their more exotic experiments from affecting nearby space. After all, when you're trying to create stable micro-universes for energy production, it's only polite to avoid disrupting your neighbor's reality. The humans don't want war, Relna concluded. They never did. They prepared for it because they had to. But what they really want is to explore, to learn, to imagine new things. She gestured to Maya. They're applying for diplomatic recognition not because they need our approval, but because they want to share what they've discovered, to teach us if we're willing to learn. Maya stood, walking to the center of the chamber. The assembled representatives watched her with a mixture of fear and fascination. My species spent centuries dreaming of this moment, she began. We looked at the stars and imagined countless possibilities, both wonderful and terrible. So we prepared for everything. We built our technology to serve multiple purposes. We learned to think in ways that might seem strange to you. She activated her own holographic display, showing the progress of human quantum physics experiments. But now we want to share what we've learned. We want to show you that the universe is stranger and more wonderful than any of us imagined. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, one by one, representatives began to signal their approval, not out of love for humanity or even trust, but out of recognition that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The species that had once been dismissed as primitives had proved to be something else entirely, not just warriors or scientists, but dreamers who had learned to turn their dreams into reality. They had defeated the Meridian Empire not through superior firepower, but through superior imagination. Welcome to the Galactic Council, the chief speaker announced formally. We look forward to learning from you. Maya nodded graciously, but everyone in the chamber understood the unspoken truth. Humanity had already changed the galaxy. Their victory over the Meridians wasn't just a military triumph. It was a demonstration that the impossible was only impossible until someone imagined a way to make it possible. Back on Earth, in the quantum research facilities beneath the Rockies, scientists continued their work. They were already imagining new possibilities, new ways to reshape reality. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been working toward all along. They hadn't just won a war. They had won the right to dream bigger, to push the boundaries of what was possible. And they had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Never underestimate a species that turns imagination into reality. The age of human innovation had begun, and the universe would never be the same.